Okay, we are trying to get this figured out. Let's see, I guess I need to raise that up. Here I am. All right, and get over to there. So I need to leave for work here very soon, so I'm going to do this as quickly as I can. Okay, on the 1 hour chart, we can see I saw a decreasing series of peaks the last couple of days. It hit that high and hasn't reached it overnight. So, and also we're losing some momentum there. The RSI shows that as well. Not the MACD so much, but all right, zooming into the 15-minute chart, we've got our levels marked here. And this is kind of actually a pretty good place to be getting in, because you can see the SMA, the 180 SMA right there, has kind of leveled out and is starting to drop a little bit, and the price action is on that point a little bit high. So that's actually a pretty good thing for doing a short at this moment, which is what I kind of intend to do. All right, so this is a possibility. Now, the first thing that I did wrong here was that I didn't talk about or make myself think through what my loss limit was going to be for the day. And I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I think that's really important to do right off the bat. And you can see here, I'm getting into a short, and I actually forgot to grab the 5-minute chart screen. And that was the next thing I did wrong. I jumped into this trade actually before I even got to the 1-minute chart. So if I go back again, I'm not sure that I would have changed my opinion about getting in, honestly, because the MACD really looks like it's going to be dropping. So I think that was okay. It's just I should have zoomed in a little bit further before I actually pulled the trigger on that one. So anyway, okay, so I'm in a short. I'm thinking it could very easily drop all the way down to here. I don't like where I put my stop, just because it's kind of hanging out there in the middle of nowhere. I could see it easily getting up to this consolidation area here, and I could easily see it stopping out, even though it may eventually drop. So, and it's a pretty big loss. And I was kind of thinking through, it's like, okay, I started off 2 days ago with $168. So I am at 356 right now. I had a lost day yesterday. If I did that, it would definitely drop me below. I would have lost 2 days worth of profit, which is not good. So I'm not sure that I've quite thought that through yet at this point. All I can see is that I'm pretty certain it's going to be dropping, but it might not go there right away. I did lower my stop just above the candles here, so I thought, well, that's better, and I got stopped out. So the first order of the day was a loss. And let's see. All right, so this is the other thing. I went out. You can see this peak here was kind of determined by the consolidation period that we saw right through here. It's a little tenuous, but we can kind of see where the peaks are going to peter out by looking back at consolidation areas. So actually, we've got a little bit further to go. Not much. It's almost there. But it doesn't surprise me that it's going up a little bit more before that drop. And here we can see it has dropped through the SMA now. So yeah, it dropped. And had I had my stop loss up higher, this is where I got stopped out, is on this big green candle right through here. Had I gotten my stop loss higher to begin with, it would have been fine, but you just don't know that till you get in. So you want to make sure you watch your bottom line. All right, so I'm thinking that it's going to jump up again. I haven't actually pulled the trigger on this one. Oh yeah, actually I have. It's just sitting there waiting to get filled, but it's pretty high above where the price action is right now. So I'm hoping that it'll zip up there, grab my order, and then drop. And as you can see, my stop order, I just lowered down to a more reasonable place, and it doesn't seem to be coming back up. It is at the lower end of this little consolidation period right through here, so it's possible yet that it will still jump up. Okay, and this is where I went back through and decided kind of my strategy, like what is going to be my maximum downside, what am I going to get out. It took me a while to kind of hash that out in my head. So anyway, so I thought, okay, well, if I'm aiming for making less losses, that means that I'm going to have to make less gains in order to raise the probability of my orders getting filled. So this is kind of the max loss, and it's in a really good place. If I get filled up here, which I haven't yet, where is it going to drop to? So when it started to continue to drop through that point, I jumped in, and you can see I've got a really tight stop and a not very big profit order. I do think it's going to drop. However, in cases like this, it's just a higher probability that you're going to get stopped out if it's that close. So as I squeeze this order in here, this is actually a pretty good place. I'm at a possible $25 profit right through here, which isn't very much because I think I could easily see it dropping down to that point. But then I decided, well, let's do a 1-to-1 trade. Higher probability of getting filled here. $50 is fine. I'm happy with that. And it just didn't want to drop. So I raised up my exit order to break even. So my second trade I got out at no profit, no loss, which I'm going to consider a good trade, profit trade, because I didn't lose anything. So, okay. Yeah. As I aim to make up for losses, this is the strategy that I've kind of changed up. So I'm aiming to make smaller trades and high probability of hitting them by doing 1-to-1. So if I do a $50 loss, I'll do $50 profit. And this is 9:24. I kind of lost track of the time. And just before I place this next order, my alarm bell went off to remind me that the opening bell was going to be in 2 minutes. So I kind of changed up another strategy, which I do think was a wise thing to do. All right, so backed up to the 15-minute chart for perspective. We're definitely looking like this is a resistance level, and we have a big wick. It rejected that upper movement. I do think we're looking for a drop. So this is the 5-minute chart, also looking like a drop. Okay, and this is where I switched over to the MES, which is the one that's 1/10 the size. And so now I can raise up my stop to a much better place and still keep minimal loss at bay. So we have much bigger movements, and being 1 minute before the opening bell, I think that this is the way to play this. I don't mind if it has a great big movement because we're 1/10 the size, so it's going to be just fine. So normally I don't like to hold it over the opening bell, but in this case with the MES, I'm going to do that just so I can get that big movement. Normally trading the MES is just frustrating because I'm used to making the $200 amounts, and that translates to 20, and it's just hard to get used to those numbers, especially when your commission doesn't really change. It's like $4 per trade. Maybe it's $2. I don't remember. It was $4 on Thinkorswim platform. But yeah, that takes a much bigger percentage of that dollar amount as well. So anyway, we're looking for a big movement right over the opening bell, and I do think it's going to drop. So I got in. I have a fairly large stop placed, but not a dollar amount. That's very large. So I'm very happy with this. It looks like it's all going right. It's dropping very nicely, big drop. I'm already at a $30 profit, locked in 10. I put my stop right above this little consolidation period here, 27.50, and continue to drop. Now I'm at a $42.50 profit. Very happy. And it just seemed to be kind of stagnating right at this point here. I had to think about that a little bit. Should I raise up my exit order or what? So I ended up lowering my stop, and it triggered. So I think I made 41 bucks on that trade, which was pretty good. All things considered, I was aiming for 50 bucks, so that was good. I was really close to what I was aiming for. All right, and I do think that was the right call. Now I have a $100 buffer instead of a $50 buffer, so, or thereabouts. I'm rounding a little bit. So I'm just inching up, I'm hoping, a little by little. All right, this is what is being said here. And all right, here's another possible move. I'm thinking it's maybe going to bounce up a little ways, and then I'll get into another short. Just seems to be kind of stuck right there. It's 9:41, so we're almost to that 15 minutes after the opening bell. This definitely looks like a bounce. So I got into a long with 2 contracts and immediately got stopped out at an $18 loss. But I hadn't really changed my mind about where it was going. I think I just put too much risk on the table, so I scaled down to 1 contract again. Now we're still talking about an $18 loss, but my stop is at a better place, and I think it can easily go up to that point and make me another $40, which would be awesome. Got into a long, and it's looking good. I put my stop at break even, and it looks like it's going to drop back down and get stopped out, which it did, unfortunately, because I do think it's going up. All right, here we go. I zipped through that pretty quickly there. Getting into a short, I think I changed my mind at this point. Okay, never mind. I didn't think it was going up. I thought, okay, well, maybe that was all the upside it was going to get, and it's going to drop. So got into a short, thinking it's going to drop down to there. Probably won't go above that last candle, so no loss no more than 25. All right, and I'm in a short. All right, here's my trade history right through here, the first trade, and then since then I've scaled way back. But that kind of messes up my my dollar amounts, because this is going to be difficult to reach with the way I'm trading like this. So my if I do get a positive, it's probably not going to be very big. It's going to be more like that. So that's different. All right. I believe I got stopped out again. And so changed my mind again. I think it's going to be dropping. Got back in, and it went way up. Got stopped out. All right, so I took a screenshot thinking, okay, maybe I'm just done here, because I've got 7 trades and really only 3 decent ones. So I'm now over that halfway limit, which I like to see. I like to see at least half my trades be positive or break even. And I just don't seem to be getting anywhere. All right, so I went and did some other stuff, came back, and this is what happened in the meantime. We had a huge jump up, and then it started to lose momentum. It actually reached, I haven't marked it yet, but it actually reached a higher high than it has in all of history, even higher than the last 2 peaks that it made. So that was phenomenal. And of course, now we're starting to drop. So it went down, rejected that, went up a little bit, made a lower high, and now it's starting to drop again. So I think the likelihood of it dropping down at least to here, maybe even to here is pretty good. So I got into a short. You can see the MACD on the 1 minute chart here is looking really, really good. I had to chase it a little ways. I haven't actually moved my stop quite yet. I'm not expecting big things. All right, now I've got a tight stop put in. And it bounced off of this SMA here and kind of scared me. And so I actually did a reverse at it's like a $20 loss, I think, something like that. So now I'm in a long. I'm thinking it might actually go up again. So I did that. I'm in a small profit right now. It's dropping down and I got stopped out again. I think that it is going to drop at this point. So I should just stuck to my guns on the last one. Okay, I'm in a short. It's going to drop down. This is kind of a big trade, but a small stop area, and I like where it's at. So this is looking good. All right, and I believe that I just lowered my stop to lock in a smidge of profit and did all right there. And I think, yep, that was my last trade. Okay, so let's look through here. First trade obviously was a loss, break even, and then I started to make some headway. So from here on out, I did okay. I just made more loss trades than positive ones. They were smaller, they were well managed, but still, when you have that many trades and you're trading that late in the day, it was 10:35 by the time I stopped, which is kind of the upper limit of what I like to do. But it's kind of a long trading day. It's an hour and a half, and it usually doesn't go well. So here's the breakdown. I made a loss of 186, which has knocked out all the profits of the last 2 days. I made more trades, less were profitable, and this doesn't really count exactly. This was intentional just because of that different trading strategy when I am on a second loss day trying to make smaller bits. And so, I don't know. I don't think that was the worst trading day, but it was not a great one either. So anyway, I did one more thing that I was going to say. I started again to realize I've made up a chart kind of tracking my profit and loss. So I've got the date and I've got how many trades I've made and how many were profitable. I have a place for my profit and loss for the day. And then I've got the beginning amount and the ending amount of where I'm at. So I can kind of track it better. And I don't like to keep things on the computer. I like to have it like in front of me so I can look at it anytime I want to instead of switching between screens. So I think that's a really, really important thing to do is journaling and analyzing. And honestly, these videos have been super helpful to me because it forces me to go back and analyze my trades and look through. Sometimes I'm surprised in a good way at the choices that I made, and I've forgotten things that I did that it's like, okay, yeah, that wasn't too bad. And then sometimes it's like I've glossed over things, and which is more often the case actually, because I'm a very positive person. And I've kind of forgotten. It's like, oh yeah, that was a really bad thing that I did. So I need to be careful to remember those things and not put myself down necessarily, but keep perspective on things and remember that it's the little things that'll get you. So anyway, thanks for joining me.